Hi and good morning. We're coming to a standing position straight away, straight onto it. Now just have a look at this. Now hopefully you've got either a tight hairband like that, which will take your feet into this position, make you spread your toes, or you have a belt. You can use your belt around your big toes like that. So move the buckle away. So if you've got a belt, you could also use a belt like that. So while you're getting organised, finding what you need, I'm going to just show in the demo what you're going to do. Now what's really important in this action is that you learn how to get that sensitivity and the breadth and broadness in the feet. So you've got to see that you stretch so much in the sole of the foot. And with that action, you can ground down very strongly with those outer foot bones. So you're going to be here. Now, what's also important is that these inner thighs start to move to the outer thighs, lifting up nicely, softening your belly, lifting up, roll your shoulders back and down. So from this position, we're going to see that we hinge forward. We hinge forward. Hinging forward, taking the hands onto the floor and lifting up through the center of the body. All right, now if you need to have some support for your hands, then take it. If you need to have a couple of bricks, that's no problem. As you know, it's really good to get the action right rather than just pushing yourself down onto the floor. So keeping yourself lifted nicely, pulling up through the center of the body and then getting that folding action. All right, so keeping in your Uttanasana now for a moment or two. Okay, now if you've got a belt around your big toes, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to organize this. So what I want you to do is now walk your hands back to your big toes, because hopefully with the separation you will have a little bit of a breadth and broadness, and then hold on to your big toes. Keep the inner thighs moving to the outer thighs, keep that breadth and just extend forward. See that you sink your shoulder blades deeply into the body until you want to give way with those elbows, until you want to give way with the elbows. And then keep that lift even more until you give way with the elbows. You can see that action. All right, come on then, your turn. If you're not already in it, I want you to see that you come into this action, keeping that breadth and broadness in the Uttanasana to start with, and then you're going to see, can you walk those hands back, hold those big toes. If it's not too much of a problem with whatever bound action you're using, whether with the belt or with the hairband, see that you get that really lovely spread of the toes, and this will be with you all through the class. It's such a great action, so nice to get that broadness in your feet. Such a strong action. Okay, and then release it. All right, what I want you to do is to come up and just take a look at the screen again. So I'm going to place my hairband back onto my feet. Like that. And then I'm going to come into this action of Adho Mukha Konasana. So pushing back very strongly, but really seeing that my feet are getting such a good action. The soles of the feet are broadening and spreading, and the abdomen is moving towards the spine. And then I'm walking back. Okay, come on then, see if you can do. It's quite a strong action. So be mindful that you are grounding down with your outer foot bones, but still getting that breadth and broadness in the sole of the foot. And then walking your hands along the mat. See that you get that nice extension. Push back with your thighs strongly. See that you work so much with those inner thighs moving away from one another. Push the thigh bones back really strongly. Okay, and now walk yourself back and come up. All right, you're going to release that band away now. Just take a look at the screen. All right, so we're going to come for Trikonasana. Just watch for a moment. Now, you need to have quite a bit of a support for your hand because you're going to see if you can take your hand flat. So, I'm going to have this support. You can have whatever you've got hanging around, a couple of books, whatever it may be. Now, when I take my legs into Trikonasana, you can step or jump the legs. The leg becomes straight, but again, this inner thigh has got to come forward and this leg has got to go back. And when we hinge over, when we extend, this foot, it's almost as if it's still getting that breadth and broadness. So you've got to see the breadth and broadness comes into the sole of the foot, and then we take our hand down like this. And so the hand goes down, the leg goes back, and now you've got to move that outer hip in. So if it tends to stick out a bit, which mine does on this side, you've got to see you move it right in, keep the front leg straight, and see if you can come into the rotation, taking the arm up. Okay, let's see how you're doing. All right, so jump the legs or step the legs apart, turning the feet and keeping that lift through the center of the body, arms out to the side. Now extend over using your support for your hand and pause for a moment. Now this support can be a chair as well. You can put your hand onto a chair, no problem. It can be a brick, but it's got to be high enough so that you can take your hand flat and keep your legs straight. You may have to think about that one. All right, so take that outer buttock in, that inner thigh's got to come forward, but this back leg has got to go back. So they've got two different directions, massively, so different, two different directions. So you take the back leg back, front leg has got to get that rotation and support. Yeah. So feel that difference. This is what actually just kind of shaves away that stiffness in the groin. It's a really good practice. We'll rotate the whole of the chest and extend that top arm up. Extend that top arm up as much as you can. And now with support, press into the broad soles of the feet and then come up. Turn the feet and lift up. All right, so move the support to the other side now, making sure that you're turning the feet, keeping the lift up through the center of the body and arms out, hinge over to the side, taking your support. Notice where the support goes, right to the inner leg area, taking the hand flat. I'm just going to put my hand on the hip for the moment whilst I get these adjustments. Outer hip in, back thigh back. You've got to see that these thighs squeeze into the bone. They squeeze into the bone very strongly. You may not be able to feel that at this moment in time. It's a very strong action. Now, outer hip in and get that turning action. And then keep revolving and taking the arm up if you can manage that action too. So a soft inhalation, soft exhalation, be in the pose. Be in the pose. And breathe. Okay. It's always so lovely when you come out of the actions, when you come out of the poses. So take your breath in and come up and come out. Stand with your feet together, take your weight right back into your heels. Take the arms down and lift the chest up. And just be in your own space for a few moments. Okay, and now releasing. Well done. All right, so we're going to still keep with these lateral poses. So moving your support to the other side. Stand in the center of your mat. Okay, just take a look. Just Let's move this a little bit forward, otherwise I'm going to jump onto it. So I'm going to jump the legs apart, turning the feet. Now just watch for a moment. I'm going to see that I get that extension through the sole of the foot. Lift the toes up when you come into this pose. Really good habit to get into whilst you're learning, and then extend into this position. Now when you take your hand down, take it onto some support, but again, your arm is against your inner thigh and your buttock needs to move in very strongly. Needs to move in. It needs to move in. So just give it a little bit of movement. Now don't move the knee with the action, but you just got to palpate a little bit, that buttock moving in. And go down, go down, go down with the buttock. And then see how far you can extend the arm. Can you extend it right up and extend over the ear? Now, as we know, the pose, you've got to lengthen along your thigh and then get the turn. Now, of course, this can be a chair if you find staying in this position really challenging or such a job that it's a bit of a nightmare. So you can replace this with a chair if you need to, but keep your arms straight. We've all got different arm lengths, so it may be that you can take one foam pad away. The three work really well for me. All right, so jump in those legs. If you haven't already, if you've already done one side with me, then you're going to do it 3 times because we're starting all over again. So jump in the legs, you're turning the feet to the right and making that square. Make that square. Go and see how much you can extend into that square. Scrape that sole of the foot as if it's trying to get to the end of the mat, but it doesn't move. Then rest your arm and then take your hand down in front of your thigh. Keep that lift through the center of the body so much. Soft inhalation and exhalation. Now, these are the adjustments, so I hope you're still there. Ground into your back leg. See that you're using your arm as a fulcrum and just little palpations, little palpate actions in that outer hip. Go on, move it in strongly. And now see, can you take the arm up? Can you lengthen along your leg? Can you take the arm over? As you take the arm over, reach so much. Now you've got to keep that underside waist lengthening to the armpit so you can make that turning action of the intercostal muscles. Really important. Get that turning action of the intercostal muscles. Get that rotation in the pose. Okay, and then coming up. Very strong. All right, so we come to the other side now. Being in this position. All right, so feet together, lifting up through the center of the body and jump those legs again. Arms out to the side, turning the feet so strongly and then making that angle, making the angle, taking the back leg away. And now extend really strongly into that back leg. Remember, we're going to take that left hand down to the support. Be sure that the arm is connecting with the inner thigh. And then, can you lengthen even further? Can you take that buttock down even more? Now reach up with the top arm and take it over. Now here's the challenge. Lengthen the whole of the side waist to the armpit and turn. Get that turn in action. Can you lengthen and turn? Lengthen and turn. Lengthen and turn. Yes. This is the action. This is what you're looking for. Sometimes when we take our hand down too far, we cannot get that space to get the turn. This is what's so genius about using a prop. Such a useful aid, such a useful help. All right, and releasing, coming up. Stand in Tadasana. Feet together. Take the weight right back into the heels and reach the arms down. And breathe, find your breath, a soft inhalation and exhalation. When you're in Tadasana, ground into those legs, lift up through the center of the body, roll the shoulders back and down. Okay, and releasing. Now, we're going to come into a Parivrtta action. So just have a look. Now, what we've got to do is to remain really broad in the back body, and you get this turning action. So you turn. Now, when you turn, again, your arm is going to be in front of your thigh here. Now, you'll know if it's a little bit too low for your elbow, so you can use here. You can just be in this position. Now what you want to do in this position is to lengthen the spine, and then you can come into this position and lengthen the spine like this, and then you can come into this position. It might be that you can straighten your arm in this way, keep this leg grounded, and then you extend. So your arm, your palm is flat and it's pressing the air, and this one is actually pushing away. So this happens eventually. Now once you get into this position, you can then see, can you get more and more length to then fold into the action. It's very, very strong. Now, it may be that you don't need a foam pad underneath your bottom, and you don't need to put this underneath your elbow. It actually works quite nicely because it's movable. You can move it really easy along your thigh. So come on then, let's have a go. I'm going to move off of the support now, and we'll go together. So turning towards your left leg, and turn, keep that turn, keep the grounded action into the thigh, and then just see that you come into this action, ground down with that leg. So you've got to see that you still get this inner thigh to push forward, so that outer hip, the outer hip, let's see here, this outer hip's got to go in. It's got to go in really strongly, and then extend, and then extend. So you get this length, the abdomen is drawing towards the spine. Now, it's very tempting to catch. Don't catch. You might be here, that's fine. Don't catch, just be there. Then extend the arm over. It's a very strong action. So now push, push, push the air. Don't just drop. You've got to see that you keep that extension, so that, as if you were in Upavistha, you've got to roll this upper arm towards the ear and just be here. And if you can catch, you catch. If not, it's not your turn today. It will be very soon, don't worry. Just keep at it. It's a very strong twisting action. Ground down with the legs again. And then coming up, if you haven't already. I think some of you probably have. All right, now turning towards your right leg to go to your left. Grounding down with those legs, and then extending. Extending in this way. Extending in this way. Keeping this action. Pulling up the kneecap and thigh, and then see, can you move along? You might not need this tea towel. As I said, it's quite nice to work with the tea towel. Keep this back leg nice and straight and strong, and then can you extend? Can you reach that arm so much? Can you lengthen the side waist so much? Then can you take the arm over? So you want to really lengthen before you even think about catching. I know some of you have probably caught, but that's not what we need to do. We want to see that we get the length first, and then see, are you able to keep this stable, this inner thigh? It's got to ground down. Okay, so see how you get on with that. It is quite a lot of work, quite a strong action. Okay, and now releasing. I'm going to have a blanket for my head. What's really important with this action today is that we come into our Shavasana and then extending your heels away from you, like that, spreading your toes, pausing, lifting out of the pelvis. Just take your time with this. You know, the structure is really important. Move that out the way. Now, just watch, because so many people just let the legs go. No, it's just the feet that go out to the side. And then rotating your arms, closing your eyes, and surrendering the body. I'm sure you can all manage this one. I'm sure you can all manage it. All right, so just let everything surrender, let everything release, let everything quieten down. And now scanning the body. So we have to scan our body to see if we've done a good job. So when we scan, we're scanning, we're looking to make sure that actually we're not still alert in those muscles now. So the really good thing about rinsing, extending, twisting, scraping, combing all those muscles into place, then that's what really gives you that nice feeling. Because the body takes off that very tight coating, and that's what makes you feel so good after you've practiced yoga. Soften around your facial features. Let the eyes completely soften and release. Releasing the temples. Releasing the jawline. Releasing the throat. Release the shoulders down completely. So soft inhalation, soft exhalation. Just listen to your breath. Okay, so for those of you who would like to stay in your Shavasana, please just stay there. If you're coming out because you're coming to the end of your class, then roll to your right side and come into a seated position. Lift up through the center of the body, lift your sternum chest. Just take a few moments to still be in your own space. Just breathe in the breath and feel the expansion within the body. Thank you for joining me today for the intermediate class. Look forward to seeing you on the mat very soon. Namaste.